The United States is recognized internationally as one of the world's most tremendous military forces. It remains at the forefront of technological development and military strength. But on the most recent Air Force wish list for 2021, one aircraft in particular stands out among the rest, the F-15EX. This powerful top-secret aircraft was only recently divulged to be the US Airforce's top priority in recent budgetary press releases. But what makes this craft one of the best aircrafts currently in use? Why is it the US Air Force's top priority? Let's dive into it. The US Air Force recently released statements detailing which aircraft they plan on retiring and which crafts they would like to replace them with in the future. More than 200 aircraft will be retired, which makes sense given that the average age of the current fleet of the fighter jets is 29.18 years, and older craft are very expensive to keep flying. Retiring these aging aircraft will free up $1.3 billion to go towards new fighters. A large portion of this $1.3 billion will go towards fulfilling the wish list for newer, better aircraft. The current wish list includes 12 F-15EX fighters, which will replace the aging F-15CD fighters, among others. The relatively small fleet of F-15EX fighters was listed as the top priority, as well as the most considerable budgetary expense on the June 1st annual unfunded priorities list that the Air Force delivered to Congress. The unfunded priorities list was also interesting because those examining it closely noticed that a request for more F-35 Joint Strike Fighters was notably absent from the Air Force's wish list. Instead of requesting more F-35s, the Air Force instead submitted a request only for the maintenance of existing F-35s. This is an odd request, since we know that the older aircraft cost more to maintain than to replace. However, this somewhat less cost-effective request likely indicates that the Air Force is waiting for a newer, updated version of the craft to be released before investing in a fleet of new fighters. Because the F-35s aren't being updated, the new planes that were requested stand out even more. This makes the F-15EX the most significant, advanced, and expensive craft the US Air Force will invest in this year, with plans to continue adding over 100 of the fighters to the fleet through 2026. The Air Force is also retiring a portion of its legacy tanker fleet, decommissioning 14 KC-10 tankers and 18 KC-135 tankers. The retirement of these aircraft will allow the Air Force to invest more money towards the KC-46, particularly with the transition of KC-10 and KC-135 craft to the KC-46. They will also retire 13 C-130Hs, 4 16E-8 J-Stars aircraft, which are usually used for ground surveillance and targeting, and 20 RQ-4 Global Hawk Block 30 surveillance drones. So, what makes the F-15EX so advanced that it takes priority over other fighters? This $90 million aircraft's defining feature is its dual purpose as both a fighter craft and a powerful radar jammer. Primarily, it operates as a stealthy, long-range shooter with a high-power twin-engine. In fact, it has the same airframe and engines as the F-15CD, so it features lots of underwing space to carry larger air-to-air and hypersonic missiles. However, it differs from the CD in one key way. It is also a jamming platform, which makes it unique from other aircraft. While the F-15EX is not the first jammer craft, the EF-111 was also a jammer craft. The EX is superior because it is equipped with the cutting-edge Eagle Passive Active Warning Survivability System, also called EPAWS. The EPAWS allows the F-15EX to determine the frequency of enemy radar and project a shield of noise around itself at the same frequency, which would jam radar and protect itself and nearby aircraft from detection by enemy radar. The EPAWS system also makes the F-15 more effective than other fighter-sized radar jamming crafts like the EF-111 because it utilizes advanced algorithms which allow it to automatically and accurately detect enemy sensors. With these advanced capabilities in mind, it is easy to see why the F-15EX is the US Air Force's top priority. It's fast, is powerful, and it easily conceals itself and nearby crafts from enemy detection. The Air Force has made their priority clear by retiring 421 older fighter jets and shrinking their fleet by 117 crafts in order to make budgetary allowances for the introduction of a fleet of 12 F-15EX crafts, which will cost a total of $1.3 billion. This new fleet will be bolstered by the revamping of 48 F-35A aircraft, which costs $4.5 billion. While the F-35A fleet is larger, they do not have the advanced radar jamming abilities of the F-15EX. The EX fighters will replace a number of older airframe models, like the 47 F-16CD and 48 F-15CD fighters, which were predicted to be unsafe to fly by 2023 due to large-scale structural flaws. The Air Force will also retire all 234 of their F-15CDs, 124 F-16CD Fighting Falcon multi-role fighters, and 63 A-10C Thunderbolt close air support jets. Another essential component of the F-15EX is its direct competition with the F-35. The two crafts have both been major investments by the US Air Force, but have key differences driven by their intense competition. A major source of the tension is the fact that the F-35 has been the Air Force's only new fighter program since 2009, when the F-22 Raptor program was terminated. When the F-15EX came on the scene last year in 2020, it was an unexpected challenge to the F-35's dominance as the cutting-edge, high-investment fighter program. Since the F-15EX's introduction, the two crafts have been competing for budget dollars and support. With the plan proposed in 2020, the Air Force is projected to gain 2 F-15EX crafts in 2022, 6 more in 2023, culminating in a grand total of 80 planes over the next 5 years. Additionally, the 2020 budget allotted $949 million to upgrade existing F-15s. With all of these resources going towards the development, maintenance, and purchasing of the F-15EXs, it's clear why the F-35s are feeling the heat. Under the current plan, the Air Force is on a path to buy 24 fewer F-35s each year compared to past years. The F-35s will also not come online in time to replace the aging F-15CDs, the Air Force's greatest concern as far as fleet retention. Therefore, because the F-15EXs will be ready before the F-35s, they have a further advantage in gaining budgetary priority, especially considering that the US Air Force is currently 7 squadrons behind the desired 62 deemed necessary to meet the national defense strategy. The F-15EX also has over 70% parts commonality with the CD models, meaning the transition from the CDs to the newer EXs will be a smooth one. They can also continue to use the same ground equipment, hangars, simulators, and other support gear previously used by the CDs. Because of this ease of transition, the shift from the CDs to the EXs would only take a matter of weeks once begun, whereas a full transition to an expanded fleet of F-35s could take months or possibly years. Because of the need to transition pilots, maintainers, facilities, and equipment to the F-35s, which are not compatible with the F-15CDs. However, the F-15EX's popularity may not hold up in the long term. The F-35s are stealthier and have superior sensor fusion, which may cause them to regain their popularity if the F-15EXs prove to be less effective in action. Boeing, the maker of the F-15EX, has proposed stealthier versions of the craft in the past, but these models required extensive development, time, and resources before they would be ready for use, causing the Air Force to reject Boeing's proposals in favor of the less stealthy but more readily available F-15EXs. This leaves the fate of the F-35 uncertain. If Boeing can't get the stealthier F-15s flight ready within a few years, the F-35s will likely remain key components of the US Air Force's fleet. But if the F-15EXs are a success and a stealthier version becomes available as the current fleet begins to age, the Air Force will likely replace the F-35s with newer, better crafts following the models of the F-15EXs. The introduction of the F-15EX will allow the US Air Force to fly undetected into enemy airspace, even as detection systems developed in China and Russia become more advanced. The Air Force has prioritized military advancement since the Cold War era, always pushing to match the might and technological capabilities of other global superpowers. In light of this, the F-15EX is the obvious choice as a response to increased defensive detection systems in other countries. Overall, the introduction of the F-15EX fleet shows the US Air Force's dedication to pursuing the newest and best technology available. This craft has great potential for future development and could be integrated with AI in the future, allowing an AI pilot to learn and operate the EPAWS system, since both operate on complex and advanced algorithmic systems. The F-15EX could also potentially be accompanied by remotely controlled drones, since it is able to protect any nearby aircraft from detection, as well as itself. The possibilities and power of this fighter are limitless, and the F-15EX stands out as the cutting edge of military technology. If